Hi, hello, and welcome to my review of this new Prime Original movie, Saltburn, and actually my first review of 2024, which I'm quite excited about. I haven't made a review in a while. And yeah, I kind of wanted to catch up on a few movies that I have seen a while ago. Saltburn was one of them. It came out actually, I think, in early December of last year, and I still kind of want to talk about this movie. It's the new Emerald Fennell movie, and actually her second movie. Her first movie was really popular. It's called Promising Young Woman, and it's her directorial debut, which got a lot of hype. It actually was nominated for 5 Oscars for, first of all, Best Picture, also Best Original Screenplay, which this movie actually won. And I wasn't that happy with it because I'm not the biggest Promising Young Woman fan. Again, it's relatively well rated, and I have to say that the plot itself, which is about Carey Mulligan playing a woman, like she was abused in the past, and so she kind of wants to teach every man a lesson who tries the same with different women, and that's basically what this movie is really about. Not trying to spoil anything, but to me, what I really didn't like about this movie is the ending and the way it just kind of managed to not just ruin, but also kind of invalidate everything that was like making sense about the movie before that. I wasn't the happiest with the ending of this film, but I was still kind of interested in what this movie was going to be. Saltburn is her newest movie that got a lot of critical acclaim too, and people seem to really like this movie as well. Also, it is starring a few very great actors. Barry Keoghan is one of them, who I know from movies like, for example, The Banshees of Inisherin, where he was really good. Jacob Elordi plays in this movie a very important role, who I know from, what is it called, Euphoria, and I think something else too, which I don't remember right now. I haven't seen Priscilla. He is in that movie too, playing Elvis. And so yeah, I was pretty interested about that. Also, everything that I saw from this movie really gave me some very nice teen romance vibes that I also like. And that's the impression this movie also gave me in like the first act, because it felt like a movie like, for example, Call Me by Your Name, a very cozy and nice summer romance. Even though it has a lot of sad undertones, it was still kind of nice to watch, and I just was happy for the characters. This movie is about Oliver, and he's played by Barry Keoghan. He's the main character, and he is going to Oxford. He's more poor than most of the other people because he also got a scholarship for this school instead of like him just being able to pay for everything. And he meets Jacob Elordi's character, who's called Felix, and they just kind of develop a very intimate relationship between each other. The thing is with this movie, yeah, I gave this movie a chance. I was ready for like really liking this movie because again, the first act of this movie felt like it was kind of like Call Me by Your Name in a way, where it's a very beautiful gay romance. That's what it seemed like, and then the movie got a little bit weirder when it moved into the storyline that takes place on Saltburn, with weird characters like, for example, like the people who work for Felix's family. They are very weird sometimes. Also, like a friend, also played by Carey Mulligan, is a very just odd character in this whole concept of characters. And there's also the cousin, there's also the mother. They all act kind of weird, and they all have some weird relationship with Oliver in this movie. That's when the movie kind of got different. It turned into something different, but still had that feel that, to me, the first half of the movie has, which was still not bad. And to be honest, this movie was top movie territory for me because I just liked the way this movie was so yeah, just so nice and cozy, but also kind of odd, and you never really knew what the people were thinking, like what the characters were thinking, and where this movie was going. It was kind of unpredictable in a way, and also with this very odd and sometimes very experimental and just beautiful cinematography by Linus Landgren, who also was a cinematographer on movies like La La Land and Babylon. Like this whole mix was just amazing. But yeah, Emerald Fennell seems to not really make the best endings at all, and this seems like it's very much working for a lot of people. For me, it just absolutely didn't, and I want to not spoil a lot. But the thing is, I kind of can't talk about this movie without spoiling it, and so therefore, if you want to like hear my opinion, concluding what I think about this movie, skip to the end. I think I put chapters in this video, so you can see where you can skip to. But yeah, this movie just ends in such a dumb way, I think. It just doesn't fit at all. What this movie felt like at first on Saltburn was still a romance, but a very weird romance. There's, for example, a scene in the bathtub that is so weird. But scenes like this, or for example, a scene that has to do with blood, scenes like that just like are very weird, but they still don't really take away from how good the romance in this movie feels. And that's what this movie at first feels like. A lot of sexual tension between basically every single character and Oliver, which is very weird, but it really is working very well. Then it moves on to a very convoluted storyline between all of these characters. Not in a bad way, really. It's really when the character of Felix dies that this movie really turns into something interesting, because it feels like this movie is changing up a little more. Since it's not a romance really anymore, because the main love interest in this movie is dead, and yeah, everything having to do with the cousin and the mother, it's all very weird. But to me, I feel like this movie would have been perfect if it ended with that scene of Oliver doing the thing with Felix's grave. It's a weird scene because I thought this was just a romance between Felix and Oliver, but a very obsessive romance. I felt like up to this point it would really work. And I was for the whole time kind of guessing how would this movie end, because it's moving into such a complicated direction. It's really just unpredictable at this point anymore. And yeah, I really liked that ending, even though it's not the ending. Because after this movie turns into a direction that I didn't see coming, and yeah, not in a good way. This movie basically turns into another Eat the Rich movie, just doing that kind of wrong. Because in movies like, for example, Triangle of Sadness or maybe The Menu, it's kind of making fun of the rich, and where we are looking at this whole scenario through the minds of a character who's kind of more grounded and who's not as rich, who's kind of normal. And so it's kind of fun making fun of rich people. And in this movie, the rich people don't really do anything wrong. And to be honest, our main character, at least towards the end, is easily the most unlikable person, because he is the villain of the story. He reveals himself to be the villain for the whole movie. And really, I feel like this movie just ends horribly. This ending feels so tacky and annoying, and I feel like just like the way Barry Keoghan's character is delivering his evil speech in front of the dying mother of the family, after half of the family is either dead or just like gone as well and out of the picture. I feel like the way this guy felt in that scene is also the way Emerald Fennell felt like writing that scene, because it's really just I don't know how you can make such a annoying ending after delivering such a great movie. And I know that she had this in mind probably for the whole time. I don't think she started out the movie with a very beautiful romance and just thought, okay, I want to turn this, and just thought I want to turn this into this Eat the Rich kind of storyline about, you know, a guy trying to overtake a whole empire of rich people. I don't think she developed that. I think she had in mind. I think what she always had in mind was obviously this reveal at the end, but she just tried to hide that very well under the covers of a like romance. And on a page that sounds kind of nice, and if you can do that right, it probably works. But I felt like it was just so annoying. And you know, again, I feel like just like the way Promising Young Woman tried to subvert its story, but ultimately just ended up being really annoying and just like making the movie even worse. I felt like just in the same way she did that with Saltburn, because also the twist felt so unnecessary, and the way she just has these flashbacks of him being behind everything, him even poking a hole into the tire of Felix's bike, like that seems so convoluted and just unrealistic. And I felt like everything before that felt like this could happen in that way, but everything that happened after the death of Felix was getting more and more convoluted and just not realistic at all. And that's why I thought this movie was just so disappointing, completely disappointing, even though it was so promising in the beginning. And here you can get kind of the argument that the intentions of Emerald Fennell went completely against my expectations of what the movie was going to be, because I kind of expected this romance, and that's what I thought this movie was going to be when I initially went into it. But the thing is, I knew absolutely nothing about this film except for a few pictures that I saw of like this of Oxford, and so I really didn't have a lot of expectations. And I feel like a movie that has a story like this and a story reveal like this could have hinted at all of this a little bit more and a little bit better. But I feel like this movie just changed up so drastically that I feel like everything about this movie that was good in the beginning was just cancelled, and traded in for something completely different and not really done in a good way. So yeah, I just thought this movie was incredibly annoying because of that. So I think this is the part where I'm going to start talking about spoilers. I feel like Emerald Fennell is really finding her voice in this type of movie where she has a very good plot of a film and she basically does everything right, and I'm constantly engaged in the story, but she just has to put a plot twist in just to like subvert your expectations in a way. It feels like everything that people are saying like or making fun of with M. Night Shyamalan movies applies to the two movies by Emerald Fennell, and I can say I really like it. So yeah, I still think that this movie can be interesting to watch. I think everybody will have a different opinion on it, and it just might be that I was much more annoyed by the ending than other people could be, because in general this movie is still very highly rated, and it's almost at 1 million views on Letterboxd, which is so much for such a short time, because this movie has only like it hasn't even been out for a month now, I think. So I won't like try to not recommend this movie. If you are interested in this movie, just go watch it and form your own opinion, because I think it can be worth it. Just, I didn't like it. It was not my thing. I'll give this movie a 5 out of 10. Yeah, thank you for watching. Go watch my other reviews, I guess. They probably over here somewhere. And yeah, see you next time.